Our scripture today is in James. It's chapter 1, verse 17. And if you're in your red Bible from the back, somebody give us a page number. James is very difficult to find. It's very short. It's right after Hebrews and right before like the Revelation stuff towards the back. Not right before it, but it's a little ways before it. Anybody got a page number? 214. Great. And if you want a Bible and you don't have one, raise your hand. It looks like Stephen's got some. Max is bringing some. Oh, Max needed a Bible. You're standing next to the cart. All right, well, if you would like a Bible, raise your hand, and there's a couple more coming up this way. One more time on the page number? 214. 214. We're going to read verse 17 through the very end of the chapter. Every generous act of giving, with every perfect gift, is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow due to change. In fulfillment of his own purpose, he gave us birth by the word of truth, so that we would become a kind of first fruits for his creatures. You must understand this, my beloved. Let everyone be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger, for your anger does not produce God's righteousness. Therefore, rid yourselves of all sordidness and rank growth of wickedness, and welcome with meekness the implanted word that has the power to save your souls. But be doers of the word, and not merely hearers who deceive themselves. For if any are hearers of the word and not doers, they are like those who look at themselves in a mirror. For if they look at themselves and then on going away immediately forget what they look like. But those who look into the perfect law, the law of liberty, and persevere, being not hearers who forget, but doers who act, they will be blessed in their doing. If any think they are religious and do not bridle their tongues but deceive their hearts, their religion is worthless. Religion that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this: to care for orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself unstained by the world. This is the word of the Lord, to which we say, thanks be to God. All right, so this was so much fun, and I did this on Wednesday, that I'm welcoming Lindsay to come back forward, because I'm going to show you guys this pretty cool thing that happens. And it's a great metaphor, and let me tell you, Lindsay's awesome. All right, so here we go. All right, so this is Lindsay. Everyone say hi to Lindsay. Hi. Lindsay, you're going to have to stand up on a step, I think, probably for everyone to see you. Just one step? 2 steps? You all right? Let me help you out for the second step. Can you guys all see Lindsay? All right, so Lindsay, do you have a mirror on you? All right, let's imagine that you have a mirror on you. It looks like an announcement sheet, but it's not. This is actually a mirror. Everyone say hello, mirror. Hello, mirror. I appreciate you playing along. That was kind of stupid. You shouldn't say hello to mirrors. All right, ready to go? Look at yourself in this mirror. You get a visual of what you look like? Yes. Okay? And you see like how your hair is and everything, and your shirt there, and this and that and the other? Yes. Good? Okay. So, throughout the week, all right, so imagine this like metaphor. You guys kind of go along this journey with me. So this is Lindsay on day 1, all right? And then she gets a call that she got fired from her job, all right? So she gets fired from her job. That's the firing of her job. Okay, so the next thing that happens is that she finds out that she doesn't have the money in place to pay the bill that she was going to pay, and so she doesn't have the money, and they cut her lights off, all right? So do that right there, make it into like a tank top thing. Did I stretch it? All right, so this is day 2. It's getting worse. Are you guys with me so far? And then she's lost her job, and she gets really mad, and her mom calls her, and she says something really mean to her mom, so it's even worse now. All right? And then it's getting even crazier. So now Lindsay's got like no friends because her mom was like her best friend, and so she's like even like just feeling terrible. And so like Lindsay then finds that that she's got no lights on, and the place that like where she rents her place from has no more time for her because she's lost her job and has no money. And so here you go. You ready? Okay. So now it's all curly and wigged out. Okay, so now she's just full on frazzled, right? And then like other things start happening to her, like crazy stuff. She pulls out, it's like day 6, she pulls out her car out of the parking lot, and she's not paying attention because she's got all these things on her mind, and boom, she like hits like a pole, all right? And so now she's got a great big dent in her car, okay? And so I'm just gonna like sit you down right there, all right? So like now you're down. You're just fully down, and you lost a sheet. No. All right, so there we go. All right, so you guys ready? Can you still see Lindsay? Barely. All right, so I'm going to pull the mirror, okay? And Lindsay, I want you to look and tell me, do you look the same as you did before?
No.
Does she look the same as she did before? Does she look the same?
No.
All right, everybody give a round of applause for Lindsay. It's going to be not a lot bigger round of applause probably that she's going to need to not want to kill her later. See, that's the kind of thing that happens to us, right? She's such a trooper. That's the kind of thing that happens to us. Like we get going in our week and we start here maybe on Sunday and we get this great reflection. We're like, I know who I am, I know who I'm called to be, I know what it means to live my life in this particular way. And then guess what happens? It happens to me. I step out of this place and somebody cuts me off inevitably on Ponce de Leon, right? Because that road is 3 inches wide. And then somebody just will start crossing the street on one of the state law, you gotta stop crosswalks. But the lights are all green. They could have just waited for a second. I gotta slam on my brakes and somebody else swerves. And then they start yelling obscenities at me. I start forgetting who I am even more. And then I get this phone call that I've got to deal with something that I don't want to deal with. And then I've got to fill out these reports. And doggone it, I'd much rather be hanging out with people than filling out reports. So here I am filling out reports and watching all these people come and go and thinking, oh, I want to hang out and talk to them. I want to be a part of their lives. I got to do all this junk. And then I start to think and act poorly, and I stay up too late, and I don't get enough rest, and then I don't eat right, and guess what happens? Are you with me? I forget what I look like. I forget what happened to me on Sunday that was so great that I walked out and felt awesome. And that's just in day one. And it happens to us week after week after week. You see, we get all switched up and backwards, and in James, we read that it's the mirror that reminds us who we are, who we're called to be. Now, how many of you guys can go 24/7 and you never need a break? Anybody? Really? Never need a break? Do you ever sleep? Do you sleep? No, you're joking? Okay. Anybody else up for the challenge? Because I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. So nobody wants to be on the spot. That's what we're up to. Right? We all have to have some sort of break. I would venture a guess that everyone needs some sort of rest. So here we get it. We get this day. Anybody know what tomorrow is? I know that was an easy question. You all went. It's Labor Day tomorrow. Anybody know where it came from? Anybody know what Labor Day came from? You know where Labor Day came from?
Yes, from World War II.
Okay, very interesting. Do you have any more information?
Labor Day shows you about it just makes you take a break from school, and then you think of all the soldiers that died and passed away in World War II.
Good. I think that sounds a lot like Memorial Day as well. But I do like that you're thinking about these things. This is really good stuff. You do get off from school tomorrow? No school?
Yes.
Great, so you get a day of rest. Yeah, actually, I did a little bit of research and found that it was originally, it came around 1882, but in 1894 it became a federal holiday. And it got me thinking about Sabbath, taking time off. Anybody know when the traditional Sabbath is? Anybody know? Friday night all the way to sundown on Saturday. That's when Sabbath is. And it's this great quandary, because here you get our nation that says the government is going to give us this one day off a year where we do not have to work. Now they give us other days off, but they're for different reasons. This one in particular is for labor, right? To take a rest from our labor. But God, somewhere in the scriptures, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think God said take one day a week off. And what's crazier is that tomorrow, do you know that tomorrow is the second largest retail day in the entire year, second only to Black Friday? So you know what that means? It means on Labor Day, when the intention is that we don't work at all, people in retail actually work more. Not only do they have to work, but they have to work longer hours because they've got all these truckloads of things that are going to come in tonight. They got to work all through the night and all day tomorrow. They extend their hours. They do doorbusters and all of these kinds of things. So we end up actually working more. It's interesting because I woke up this morning thinking, oh man, on Monday, that'll be great because it's a holiday. I don't have to go to work. I'm going to think about some great restaurant to take my mom to because that'll be a lot of fun. We'll go to a great restaurant and have somebody else make us food, which means they're going to have to work. You know, my expectations are that we're going to work. Or how many of you guys have like hit that part of the week where you're like, oh man, we need to go get this thing. Where can we go get it? It's like 10 o'clock at night. Oh, nobody's open. Oh, I know who's open. The Walgreens, they're open. I can go there. Or Walmart, they're open because there's somebody working 24/7 in these places. Are you guys with me? Labor Day. So we go and we go and we go and we go and we keep forgetting who we are. And what's interesting is that in James we read about being doers of the words. And what it says in James is that means caring for the orphans and the widows who were the least of the culture at that time. The orphans and the widows. And I bet you can probably think of those who can't take care of themselves these days, can't you? They might even come to mind, the widows and the orphans in your life. See, daily our walk is this battle between getting tossed around by life and trying to live out life in response to the gospel, working and overworking and trying to realize when we need to rest, and all the frustrations and the busyness getting in the way of being doers of the word. So what's the mirror for you? What helps you remember who you are throughout the week? I asked the folks at Campus Ministry, I asked them, how do we remember? And they answered prayer and scripture and being in community and accountability and sharing the story. And I think that's all great stuff to remember who we are. But I got to tell you, that is all stuff that I lose energy for. I just lose the energy for it. There's no way I can keep up with all of those things throughout the week. I mean, in goodness gracious, it's my job. So where does the energy come from? I used to play in this band called Boy Wonder, and it was like me and a buddy of mine and this girl, and she played I don't know, it's like a gym and stuff like that. We play these little acoustic songs. We go around playing like youth groups and youth events and things like that. We had a blast, and we played this song called Who I Am. And it said this, it said, the chorus in the song said, my name is written up, down, left, right. Up, down, left, right. It said, my name is written up, down, left, right, like that. So you guys turn around and watch this. This is going to be kind of interesting. You know, there's a mirror right back here. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but every time you walk in, there's actually a mirror right here. And if you lean over it just right, you can actually see yourself in here. You can see yourself in here. See, this right here is how we remember who we are. When we come into the church, we dip our fingers and we write our name on our forehead. Up, down, left, right. The cross of Christ that never leaves us. The reminder that we are claimed as God's children. And it's an important thing, brothers and sisters, because when I walk out these doors, when you walk out these doors, we forget who we are. And we need to see who we are. In that water, you were claimed as a child of God. And there's nothing in the world that can ever change you. Nothing you can do to make God not love you. There's nothing that you can do to be separated from the love of God in Jesus Christ. Remember that you are a child of God. Remember that Christ is in you, and it is Christ who makes you a doer of the word. For it is by grace that we are saved through the faithfulness of Jesus Christ. A faithfulness and a strength that we do not own. A faithfulness and a strength that can only come to us through Jesus. And then we go out to be doers of the word. To seek opportunities to invite others to church with you. And this is the crazy part. If you want to invite people to church, it's one thing to just say, hey, you should go check out this church that I go to. They're kind of crazy and the pastor is way weird, but everything else is really great. But then you got to bring them. You have to invite them and then find a time and bring them to church. Look for the lost and the broken and give them a glass of water. Take surprise gifts to a nursing home. Come feed the street members here with Mary and the crew Monday through Friday at 10:30. Make a meal for a neighbor. See, the question that we start to ask is, how has God gifted you to be a gift to others? So here's the challenge. As we try to be doers of the word, we got to remember a couple of things. That ultimately we're going to fall short. We're not going to do all the right things. Are you with me? Right? Like, it's just not going to happen. But there's this great reality in the midst of all this, is that the strength doesn't actually come from us. The strength comes from Jesus the Christ, that we take in the body and the blood that gives us the energy to go out. It's Christ within you that does these things, that is the doer of the word. But here's the challenge. When you forget who you are, find a puddle of water. Find a bowl of water. And look into it. I don't think there's any accident that we can see our reflection clearly in water. And brothers and sisters, it's everywhere. I have a feeling that God's on to something. And that's who we are. Claim children of God. Would you pray with me? Good and gracious God, it's hard for us to be doers of the word. It's easy to be hearers and then to sort of forget who we are and move on in our lives. But Lord, you call us to more than that. And it's hard. It's so difficult. Lord, we need you to remind us each day who we are. Lead us to puddles of water. Lead us to sinks full of water, or glasses of water, or even our coffee cups sometime, that we might see our reflection in the water and remember that you claim us, that we are yours, and there's nothing that can change that.